This is CBC Late Night News.
Hello, thanks for joining us. I'm Shannon Martin. Hundreds gathering in Toronto today, urging Metrolinx to reconsider a construction plan for a train layover facility. They say it will devastate urban green space. Dale Manuktuk takes a closer look at the plans and has reaction from the transit agency.
As part of their GO expansion, Metrolinx is building a transit layover facility that runs parallel to the Don Valley Parkway. These are renderings of what it would look like.
I think it's terrible that they're taking away a really great, well-used piece of green space for a bunch of trains.
Adding more infrastructure here, I feel like we don't have the space.
There are so many other spaces and places and areas in the whole city.
Don't mess with the Don, hauling it out.
Today, some of those people built some sweat equity for the area they love. Don't Mess with the Dawn, a local charity that organizes cleanups, says it's solely a location issue.
Why would we decimate 1,100 trees, crush meadows, or decimate a wetland when there are other more suitable locations for their operation?
But Metrolinx says the site is final. It's the only one that met all of their criteria, including access to the downtown core and the GO line. All that's left to decide is design plans.
We understand and actually appreciate their concerns, because one of the things we've done is reduce the footprint, incorporated many of their ideas into the site development, and we're still listening.
The new facility would take up 11 acres and eliminate hundreds of existing trees. Metrolinx says they'll replace them at a 3-to-1 ratio. They also plan to use the Don Branch Rail, which is currently not operational and they already own.
We can work with Metrolinx. We can talk to them about their options.
But community members and politicians at all levels of government say urban green space is too valuable to infringe upon.
The city and the province and the feds are spending $1 billion naturalizing the mouth of the Don. And now, unfortunately, Metrolinx wants to spend a lot of money unnaturalizing the valley.
Thanks very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Metrolinx did host a virtual town hall about the Don Valley project during the summer. There's no firm date on when construction will begin, and they're still accepting community feedback on the final design. Dale Manuktuk, CBC News, Toronto.
If you take the TTC, you may notice longer wait times. Service is being reduced along some routes as its mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy kicks in. Starting tomorrow, subway service on Line 2, Bloor-Danforth, will be reduced during all periods from Monday to Friday. This means commuters can expect service every 3 to 4 minutes during the day and every 6 to 8 minutes in the evening. 57 bus routes and 1 streetcar route are also being impacted. In a statement, officials say at this point, 92% of all active employees have shared their vaccination status, adding the vast majority are now fully vaccinated. Service will pick up as more employees get the shot. The first doses of the Pfizer vaccine for kids have now touched down in Canada. This was the scene in Hamilton earlier this evening. Health Canada approved the vaccine's use in children ages 5 to 11 on Friday. Those doses are smaller than what's been given out so far. Once the shipment arrives, it will be up to provinces and territories to manage distribution. This age group is the most at risk to catching and spreading COVID. Many doctors say vaccinating kids is a big step towards life getting back to normal. While vaccines continue to be the best defense against COVID, they aren't perfect. As Talia Ritchie explains, the death this weekend of a fully vaccinated Ontario senator is an urgent reminder to those most at risk.
Ryan Hassan is happiest in a classroom. He's double vaccinated, but that doesn't mean he's completely safe.
Getting COVID is a big fear. And of course, Ryan is somewhat immunocompromised, right? So we do worry that the impact of it will be significant. We definitely have not taken him to a restaurant in some time.
News of the death of Ontario Senator José Faure-Nizing following a battle with COVID-19 is underscoring the risk to vulnerable populations. Just 56 years old, her office confirmed that she had received at least 2 doses of a vaccine, but had an autoimmune condition affecting her lungs.
It's definitely worrisome.
Mandy Penny has type 2 diabetes, which leaves her at greater risk of severe illness.
We're starting to feel the urgency, I think, to get those doses as quickly as possible.
In Ontario, those over 70, healthcare workers, essential caregivers, and some immunocompromised people are among the groups eligible for a 3rd dose. But some experts say there are still vulnerable people at risk.
Not only are dialysis patients immunosuppressed, so they're at high risk of getting COVID. B, they are forced to come to the hospital, getting exposed, to COVID.
Dr. Isaac Bogosh says while it's overwhelmingly the unvaccinated who are getting sick and dying from the illness, there's room to expand the 3rd dose rollout.
I think we should really be expanding the community dwelling population to, for example, 50 years up would be a very reasonable thing.
Ontario is among the provinces with plans to roll out boosters for all adults, but not until 2022.
I think it would definitely give us more peace of mind, not just for Ryan's health himself personally, but also to know, like, if there was others that are also receiving their 3rd dose, it's just extra security.
And better protection for those who are more at risk. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
For businesses in Toronto's Little Jamaica, the construction of the Eglinton LRT brought some to a halt. Then the pandemic hit. Now there's much needed support making its way into the community to lift up Black-owned businesses.
So we have seen a degradation of the community in terms of the numbers of businesses there. And we are here to sort of solidify those who are remaining and try to bring others in, so the culture of what Little Jamaica is continues to remain. We received the grant with the support of FedDev, the City of Toronto, of $1 million over 3 years. Our intent is to use that money for the businesses of Little Jamaica, by the businesses of Little Jamaica, in Little Jamaica.
We started here in 2018. A lot of my customers have been complaining about the parking, so we noticed the foot traffic has cut down. It's hard to access the business. It's kind of like you got hit in the ribs twice, right? So we got the pandemic, we got the LRT, and we're still trying to fight the LRT, and we're kind of coming off of the pandemic.
We do mainly Jamaican authentic meal here. Some don't know if I made it, and some just by passing, they say, oh my God, I didn't know you're still here.
And what we're going to do is let people know that Little Jamaica is open for business, because the sustenance, the sustainability of Little Jamaica is critical to Toronto. It is a historic and significant piece of our culture, and to not encourage and allow it to thrive would be detrimental, not just to this strip, Little Jamaica, but to Toronto as a whole.
The rain in Toronto today didn't stop a group of people from taking part in the World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims. The Candlelit Memorial Walk was organized by a group called Friends and Families for Safe Streets. People who've been impacted by traffic collisions took part. The goal is to raise awareness about the need for safer roads. They walked along Avenue Road, where 3 months ago an 18-year-old cyclist was killed after he was hit by a dump truck. Organizers say the event was not only meant to remember those who have lost their lives, but also to talk about the changes that could make roads like Avenue safer.
Fight to get improvements in the roads, to slow down motor traffic, to widen sidewalks, to get to bike lanes. These are the types of things we need to avoid future tragedies.
According to the City of Toronto's website this year, there have been 48 traffic-related deaths and 175 serious injuries. Now, advocates believe the real number of incidents is likely higher, as some go unreported. The group has launched a site to track crash data that could be missing from official numbers. A man is facing multiple charges after a fire sparked under a pedestrian bridge in downtown Toronto. You saw it here yesterday on the newscast. A 28-year-old man from Scarborough has now been charged with arson. Just before 8 on Friday, police received calls about a fire at an encampment. The fire marshal deemed the blaze as arson. The suspect was seen on security footage. Toronto police say the bridge remains closed. In Hamilton, demonstrators blocked off a section of Bay Street in solidarity with Wet'suwet'en hereditary chiefs opposing the Coastal GasLink pipeline in BC. Now, this marks the third day of protests in the GTA. Rallies taking place in Toronto on Friday and Saturday. Demonstrators heard from Indigenous speakers, local labor unions, drummers, and a musical artist. Organizers say seeing this show of support is encouraging.
I think it was a great way for Indigenous and non-Indigenous allies to come together to show that we're not alone in these issues that come up with land defense.
People covered the road in big, bright pink letters. You see it there that read out, "All out for Wedson Kwa." That's the Wet'suwet'en name for the Morris River in BC at the center of the dispute. In a statement sent to CBC, the city said the paint on Bay Street was going to be removed out of an abundance of caution to ensure the safety of people using the road. To Milton, where a teenager is doing everything she can to welcome refugees arriving in the GTA from Afghanistan. She started a volunteer group that's been collecting donations. As Kate McGilvery shows us, what started as a project in her parents' garage is gaining momentum.
It says, "Welcome newcomers. Let today be the start of something wonderful."
Samaya Zalmai reads from a note she's tucking into care packages for Afghan refugees. Today, nearly 200 of them were delivered to families in need.
They're filled with toiletries, toothpaste, deodorant.
After learning about the plight of refugees arriving in Canada with nothing, Zalmai started Youth in Action this August.
I started this organization by creating a social media account, and then by that the Afghan community in Milton and then the Afghan community all over GTA started sending their donations.
Since then, her parents' garage has been filled several times over with everything from clothing to baby formula. More young people have also joined in.
I feel it's my obligation as a Canadian Afghan woman to stand up and to help those people in need, because my parents were those refugees.
I'm 15 years old, and I spend my weekends watching TV or hanging out with my friends, and I'm like, but I do care about this cause, and I do care to make a difference. And I was like, I want to meet her. I want to help.
The group has plans to collect winter clothes and toys, and to start a program to help young Afghans adapt to the Canadian school system. It's the kind of help that's badly needed, says the co-founder of a group that works on refugee sponsorship, training, and employment.
The group that's here now is a small fraction of the number we expect to see, and the needs will grow commensurately.
The federal government has pledged to take in 40,000 refugees from Afghanistan. Sukir estimates that at this point, less than 5,000 have arrived. She says Canadians stepping up will be critical.
With the Syrian refugees, 3 million Canadians contributed, funding, donating, or even sponsoring entire families. And we're going to need the same Canadian spirit to rise up again.
With the garage bursting with donations and kind words, Samaya Zalmai is making sure that spirit is on full display in Milton. Kate McGilvery, CBC News, Toronto.
Sophia Cambalia from the Weather Network joins us now. Yesterday, you were sort of warning us about what's to come, and I know it's been kind of messy out there today already.
Yeah, winter travel weather advisories in advance of what could be a really treacherous commute north and west of the city. For those of us in the downtown core, some conversational flakes will fly throughout the next 24 to 36 hours. Right now, we're actually sitting at our seasonal daytime value. Southerly flow, warmer, milder air coming in right now. You might still see some of those rain showers associated with that flow into the overnight period, but it's the wind change that changes things up a little bit for you tomorrow. Northerly flow after this rain passes, it turns on that lake effect snow machine. means we're talking about some really powerful, potent bands of lake effect snow anywhere on the Georgian and the Huron shores. This is mostly a 401 and north story, folks. You'll see a few flakes flying around the GTA and maybe a few centimeters of snow into Hamilton and Orangeville and Newmarket, but this is a possibility of 30 centimeters of snow on the Georgian and the Huron shores, Kincardine, Port Elgin, Collingwood, and Barrie. The advisories and the snow squall watches are out for what could be some really treacherous Monday morning commuting up the 400, and also some dangerous visibility conditions along the Huron shores as well. I'll tell you more about that in the long range. Okay, thanks, Sophia. We've been tracking news out of Wisconsin tonight. A Christmas parade turned deadly when a vehicle plowed through the crowd. It happened just west of Milwaukee. Details still coming in this hour, but we know more than 20 people were injured. Witnesses say at least some, in part, were a youth dance team made up of girls between ages 9 and 15. Police have found the vehicle, which was abandoned. To BC, where people are keeping a close eye on the weather with more rain expected in the coming days. Katie Nicholson was in Abbotsford today, where the rain threatens to complicate an already difficult recovery effort.
What was once lush green farmland is now a lake. There were chicken farms here, but only the roofs are visible. The waters turned John Glasma's home into an island. Good thing he has a helicopter.
We had to bring farmers in to rescue their cows. We've had to bring medical, cancer medication over because nobody could get over to the Chilliwack side. Everybody's been doing their part.
It's true on the ground, too. Working around the clock, trucks lug rocks and soil from the quarry to the Sumas Dike. They line the road outside Shane Anderson's house.
It's unreal. It's amazing how much stuff they have to put to shore up the levee.
Work on the dike, the only barrier between the Sumas River and the land, continues ahead of Tuesday's rain. In this waterlogged zone, there is nowhere for it to go, and every millimeter counts. But the floodgates are now fully open, and the Barrowtown station is pumping water into the Fraser River and away from the flood zone.
With all this good news, we are still a long way from being out of danger.
Some of the danger is obvious. Some of it is not.
Stepping off the edge of the asphalt here and thinking you can walk into the farm field, that's a pretty deep drop.
These waters have washed away entire seasons. Cabbages and peppers float with the current. At the end of this road, Narinder Bengal's farm.
I just come here every day. Sit and watch.
At the end of this road, Narinder Bengal's farm. He took a boat in and peered into the windows of his home.
All the furniture floating. All the shoes floating. Cars under the water. All my nurseries, everything's underwater.
Everyone we spoke with today has long-term solutions to prevent this kind of flooding in mind, like beefing up the Barrowtown pumping station. But for now, all eyes are on Tuesday and what that might bring. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Abbotsford.
A shout out to 2 teachers from the Peel District School Board. They're being celebrated on a national stage. They've each won the Prime Minister's Award for Teaching Excellence. We'll start with Jason Bradshaw. He teaches science at Castlebrook Secondary School in Brampton, where he also grew up.
As a Black educator in particular, there's not enough representation for people of color as educators. Myself, I didn't really have Black teachers when I was a student going through the school system, certainly not in science fields and STEM fields. So for myself, I've always hoped that I could provide some kind of representation and mentorship to students like me, Black students, racialized students.
Bradshaw has been a teacher for nearly 15 years. He says winning the award feels like a dream. His former colleague, Rachel Luke, is also being recognized. She teaches English and drama at Glen Forest Secondary School in Mississauga. She is passionate about inclusion.
I do a lot of work with anti-Semitism, Holocaust education, dismantling anti-Black racism. I'm actually teaching a Black history course this year, which is the first time we've been trying for years and years to get it. I am so excited about it. So it's Canadian Black history, and it's incredible, and I'm having such a wonderful time teaching it. And I also do a lot of work with Indigenous education. And so I want the students to learn about everyone's stories, right? There are so many stories that need to be told.
More than 200 teachers across the country were nominated. 68 are being recognized. A Zoom ceremony with Justin Trudeau is planned for a later date.
Welcome to Light Up the Square. It's wonderful to see so many familiar faces out in the crowd. It has been far, far too long.
Mississauga getting in the festive spirit. Last night, Mayor Bonnie Crombie welcomed a big crowd at Celebration Square, kicking off the holiday season. That included lighting up a 12-meter tall Christmas tree. The celebrations continue through until January 2nd. Sophia, you'll appreciate this. The warm weather this year forced organizers in Mississauga to change gears to a roller skate jam instead of ice skating.
Hey, roll with the punches, literally. I like it. A way to take the glass half full and enjoy all that Mother Nature has to offer, whether it's, rollerblades out or the skates. I love that. You'll certainly need the snow shovels, though, if you're on the Georgian and the Huron shores throughout Monday right into Tuesday. This is a 24-hour lake effect snow event for many of you. Port Elgin, Kincardine, Goderich, Barrie, Collingwood. I wanted to start off with the weather watches and the warnings. Weather advisory for travel out for what could be really treacherous commutes on the 400 up north through the Georgian shores into tomorrow morning, and then the snow squall watch for any of you traveling kind of north of the 401 and west of the city for the blowing snow and the reduced visibility. You may even see a few centimeters of snowfall. Higher elevation areas on the escarpment tomorrow. Are you ready for the snow? First of all, can I ask you this? Yeah, higher elevation areas, Hamilton, Kitchener, Orangeville, Newmarket, could see a couple centimeters. We will see a few conversational flakes, as I mentioned, flying around the GTA when some of those winds really pick up and push those flakes in. But the purple that you see on your screen there, including Collingwood and Barrie, that's up to 30 centimeters of snow. Really gusty winds as well, especially along the Huron shores, 50, 60, even up to 70-kilometer-an-hour gusts. So you want to watch out for that, really reducing the type of visibility in your travel. It looks like, though, that this current air mass is going to hold out that cool polar Arctic air for a couple days. We're holding seasonal values, which is nice. The feels likes will be above the freezing mark over the next 24 to 36 hours. Some of you will hold on to the snow, especially north and east of the city, for a couple days, but we do hold on to those seasonal values until after the next system. So warmer than seasonal midweek, and then after that is when that cool polar air finally makes its way in. It looks like it's staying with us for the long haul into next weekend. We'll keep you posted on that. More wintry, even Christmas-like weather to come for some of the big Christmas festivities next weekend.
Yes, absolutely. It's a little bit of everything, I feel like, but yeah, definitely feeling very much like the holidays. Thanks, Sophia.
All seasons in 1 week.
Yes. That is our show for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. You can stay caught up on news anytime on our website, cbcnews.ca. We leave you now with some more pictures from Mississauga.